This is Chief Inspector Jack Pachuta of MysteriesOnTheNet.com. I'm still here in the Brumder Mansion in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the perfect place to write your own murder mystery party. We talked about suspects. Now here's another important aspect of a murder mystery plot. Key non-suspects. Now what do I mean by that? Well, not everybody is a suspect, but there are people that are in your plot who've seen things and who know things and who have had interaction with certain people that enhance the plot and move the plot along. These are the people we want to talk about. You need to give them a name. And that name has got to be something a little bit whimsical, something that goes along with perhaps their profession, perhaps where they came from. If it is a foreign character, you need to have a foreign name that is accurate, something that is a little whimsical, but still is accurate in terms of that nationality. Then an age. Now, just as with the suspects, an age helps put a person into a relationship or into a time frame with somebody else. If they're the same age as somebody else, that means they could have gone to school together. They could have played together as kids. If they are older, then it's more of a parental relationship or an older brother relationship. If they are young, just the opposite. In fact, if they are young enough, it could even be a child that was born to one of the characters. So that age is very important in putting that non-suspect into perspective of who they are within the plot. The relationship or the contact with the suspects. This non-suspect somehow had some sort of contact with people who are important to solving the case. I'll give you an example of that. A gardener could have seen something. Perhaps somebody had a shovel or was out digging one night. What about the man at the newsstand who sells the newspaper every day? Someone who might see a suspect every day and might observe that suspect every day, but who isn't a suspect himself or herself. Those people can play a great role in your mystery because they have observations, they have critiques, they have a way of looking at things that may tell you something about who committed the crime. Then there's the relationship with the victim, the contact with the victim, and sometimes there isn't any contact with the victim. Sometimes the non-suspect only has contact with the suspects. But if the non-suspect has contact with the victim, what did that non-suspect see? What did they hear? What kind of things enhance the plot and move it along so that you can identify the perpetrator of the crime? What does that non-suspect know? It's very possible that that non-suspect has said something to one of the key suspects in the case, or might even have contacted the victim. What about an email? What about a letter from the non-suspect? It could have been an official of the city, of the county, of the state, of the government, and that person knew something about the case that had an impact on the way the case is perceived. So those non-suspects are key. And here's something that's very important. A non-suspect does not have to be human. It could be an animal. I'll give you an example of that. In two of my mysteries, I use animals to provide information. In one of my mysteries called The Cat Screamed at Midnight, the movements of various cats around an estate help people determine what happened. So depending upon who saw which cat when, you can track the movements of the people at the estate. Another example, a Great Dane in one of my mysteries only barks at one person. And interestingly enough, on the night of the murder, the dog was barking. What about a parrot? Parrots learn certain phrases from people. What if a parrot learned a phrase that only one of the suspects actually uses? It would have meant that parrot was around that one suspect, and that could be woven into the plot. So, key non-suspects do not have to be human. So now we've talked about the suspects, the non-suspects, and we've got several more things to do before you can finalize that perfect murder mystery plot.